wanted to locations as well, but we are good to go.
Oh, really? Okay.
Thank you,
Cool.
thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This I'm honored to be able to introduce to you Bruce Backman, who I have met. Oh my goodness, that would have been 2010, probably 2011 is when we were doing all that syndication of each other's blogs and stuff. I think, right?
Yeah, at least, maybe even a little bit sooner than that.
Yeah, it was wonderful, and I learned a lot in that networking and learning how to use the internet to get my message out there. And Bruce was always inspiring to me because of his passion for health, and we just so happened to reconnect here in the last little while. And he's had some fantastic developments that are very much parallel to a lot of the work that I'm doing in community building. And so, I want to start this interview off, Bruce, by just asking you, what was it like? You were headed into kind of like the tip of the spear when it comes to the development and innovation in blockchain right now, because biometric data being one of the most private sources of data that are out there, many people are completely oblivious to the implications of not having that be private. But here you are at the tip of the spear, privatizing your biometric data, securing it using blockchain technologies. How did you get involved with that? How did that come about?
Well, it's kind of a unique avenue because I got called by a really good friend of mine. He's been involved with marketing and all sorts of stuff for decades and decades. Honestly, I think he's made $40 million just in marketing stuff. So, but he has a really good friend who was asked to be president of a company that manufactured wellness devices, especially specifically monitoring devices.
Mm-hmm.
And the owner of this company wanted to take it in a new direction because of the nature of the way our culture is going. He didn't like the fact that data was being manipulated and used and sold, and we're essentially forced into this by clicking the little button, right? Everything we do, no matter what platform it is. And he already had these devices that he had invented and created and manufactured. And so about 500,000 people were already using them and were able to monitor their own health metrics and so forth. But he came up with an idea to use the blockchain, to use Web 3.0, and then privatize and anonymize people's health data that were all. He never sold the data. He never did anything with it. He only created this for people's own good. And then he thought, using the blockchain, we can come up with an idea that actually can not only keep it anonymous, keep it private, keep it secure, but enable people to own their data and do what they want with it. Whether it be keep it to yourself or even monetize it anonymously, when that sort of thing. And so, I, being involved with the blockchain world for 4 or 5 years previously to that, was intrigued because I have not liked the way culture was going and our financial systems are going and all these things are going, and Web 2.0, the social media, the whole thing, the centralized nature of how our world is going. I have not been comfortable with that for a long time, and I was very drawn to the blockchain world because it is not that. It's decentralized, It's different, it's freedom, it's all sorts of things that are involved with it. So I'm like, count me in.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, it's one of the reasons why I think we probably did reconnect was because we shared a lot of the same values. One of which being that you own that data. That's yours. Nobody else actually has any right to it. and that if to the degree that you can maintain that ownership is the degree that now you can secure it. You can't secure something that you just pass off and willy-nilly let someone else have access to it. So that there is right away important. What kind of implications were you? I mean, you kind of touched base on it, but what were some of the dangers that you saw, implications of having centralized sources of this biometric data, where everybody's just got their biometric data going up to one specific cloud, or maybe 3 or 4 different clouds?
Paul, I actually did a lot of research in this area, and I found out that back in 2010, 2011, 2012, companies started actually making deals with hospitals, and they started copying by hand. I mean, putting into databases people's health information, and they were supposed to be redacted, but apparently most of it was not. So we already had this trend of third parties gaining access to our personal health information. But now in our digitized world, it's not just health information, it's all data.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens with that? People can control what, how, and where we do things. For instance, insurance companies, they have been raising rates on people because they get a hold of their data and they find out that they're not as healthy as they were when they had their initial physical, or whatever they call it, right? The tests and so forth. And so rates are getting raised. I've even heard of some mortgage companies and banks turning down loans with people with good credit because their health data shows that they may not live long enough to pay off their loans.
Oh my goodness.
So, I mean, we're talking serious stuff. There's people who, I mean, and this is well known. I mean, people are checking out all of your data. Should they hire you? Are you in agreement with their personal policies? They're checking out your personal life. I mean, all of these things are scary, to say the least. But not only that, people start manipulating that data. You say the wrong thing, and pretty soon people are manipulating it for their own purposes, right? They don't like what you're saying. People gain control over you. I mean, I remember even so I like to use this example of a centralized platform. Airbnb is a centralized.
Oh, we lost you. Oh, there, you're back. But we can't hear you right now. Yeah, can't hear your mic. Your mic probably got turned off. I don't know if that was a call that came in or something. Can't hear you. Maybe try logging back out and then back in again. I know sometimes when that happens, the microphone just needs to reset.
Okay.
Okay, we're good.
Are we back?
Yeah.
Okay. I apologize for that, but this is real life, right?
Yeah. No
this is the way it goes. So Airbnb, which in the beginning, it's like, oh gosh, a freedom for people to be able to choose a place that they want to stay, and it's great and good and all that. But I have friends who own Airbnbs. During COVID time, Airbnb shut them down.
Right.
Now, that's centralized authority. That's a centralized platform. Some of my friends, is half of their monthly income were their Airbnb. Guess what happened to their financial state? So this is a serious problem. I apologize for the noise in the background, but this is a serious problem in my book, where people actually have access and control to our behaviors and our decisions and what we can and what we cannot do.
Yeah.
So if people are able to control that data, they can manipulate it. They can make decisions on your life without your permission. I mean, there's all sorts of implications that are just evil. I mean, I'm immoral, unethical. I don't know. You can name every adjective in the book. It's just
wow. I mean, I think to myself, to deny someone a mortgage based off their biometric data that might suggest that they might not be able to make the payments for the rest of the 25 years or whatever, like that's eerily close to Minority Report, where you're getting convicted of a crime before you even do it,
Yeah, no kidding. I hadn't thought about that. That's a great analogy.
Yeah. So, okay. So obviously this is why it was a big passion for you. This is why it's a passion for me to see people have that freedom of property. It's theirs. But now you've taken it even another step further. And correct me if I'm wrong, but now you can actually anonymously monetize that biometric data. Is that right?
Yes. Well, that's the brilliance of this project. It is this gentleman Fabio Galdi he's an Italian gentleman. He actually literally invented the wearable device for tracking biometric data. He actually yeah, this was back in 2013 or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
So I mean, it was a long time ago. He was a gentleman who also was a second internet service provider in Italy, the fifth largest in all of Europe, way back when we had dial-up. So he sees trends. He's smart. I'm smart is an understatement. He's a brilliant. So what he saw with the blockchain was the ability to connect an NFT, a non-fungible token, what we call a data NFT. And it literally is just a contract, a smart contract that tells the data where to go, when to go. The great news about that is the data is completely anonymous. It's actually anonymous as it's measured on my watch, and it never actually gets attached to me personally ever along the entire journey.
Wow.
So it's measured. I'm able to see it. It gets sent to the NFT. The NFT tells this blockchain. He created a new blockchain on the Ethereum platform, level 2 platform. And the NFT instructs the data where to go. The data also is a mining device. I mean, it's also the watch or the band is also a mining device that creates tokens on the blockchain. It's an amazing, complex, brilliant setup. It's never been done before, and it's a new concept. But what it's done for now, we literally are just beginning in the Western world. They've been selling the devices in Asia for many years, right?
Yeah.
Never in the United States, Canada. But just now, in the last couple months, we've been able to do this. And so what we have is an NFT connected to our device, collects the data, sends it to an essential exchange. We are creating tokens. We're paid every single day on those tokens. And in the beginning, because it's so brand new, it's like we're waiting for all this to happen. When the mining started, it's like the very first 24-hour period, I mined over 300 coins. And
wow.
I mean, it was mind-boggling to me, honestly, because you're thinking about this and you're thinking, well, okay, it's gonna be good and it's gonna be fun, but this is astounding. So, in the first 3 weeks, I have over 20,000 coins. I mean, just from the mining of the devices, and I mean, like, the company fully expects these coins to go up to $1 within 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
The equivalent US dollar. They've already grown 10 times in the 20 days since we've started mining. I mean, at the very least, right now, I am making about $150 a month at 1 cent.
You're right. Yeah.
And we're bottom level stuff right now. It's gonna go up. It's not even open to the public to invest in yet, and all that kind of stuff. But the cool thing is, and the reason that I was so intrigued by it is we've got cryptocurrencies, that have come and gone. There's like 14,000 that are no longer in existence, right? There's another 7,000 or 8,000 that are in existence today that are purely based on speculation.
Yeah.
And I, it's fine. People are doing their thing and they're making money and all that. There's only a small handful that are actually based on real world items.
Right.
This project is based on real world data that is highly, highly valuable. And places, so like I said, I researched a whole bunch. Apple, they make their watch, right? And so Apple started this trend back in 2017. They created a partnership with Stanford University. They got volunteers to contribute their data to this research opportunity with Stanford University. They did a heart health study based on digital data, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was a huge success. It was a huge success. Now, I'm not a fan of Stanford University, but they do some really great stuff. There's some great professors there and so forth. But so they did this, and it actually changed the nature of how Stanford University Medical School operated. They literally bought, I think, 1,000 Apple Watches after that and started giving them out to people because this data was so important to them.
Wow.
And that was just the very, very beginning. Google just, 6 months ago, a year ago, purchased Fitbit. Fitbit was losing millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. Google paid $2 billion for them. Why? Because Apple had already paved the way for health data.
Right.
Selling health data. Now, whatever we think about Apple, Google, whatever, I know for a fact Google doesn't care about your privacy. They've already made it crystal clear. And so they're selling that whole package deal to companies and making billions of dollars on it. Why did they spend $2 billion on a company that's losing money? Because they could make many, many billions more by selling that health data.
Yeah.
And so it is a trend. It's a big deal. Bobby was just thinking, why not put it into the hands of the people who actually create that data, give them the opportunity to make money off of it, keep it anonymous. And it's working. I literally get paid every day at 6 p.m. Western time, Pacific time. Every day.
And anonymously.
Every single day, like clockwork. Because in the previous 24 hours, you create your data. There's a cutoff date, a cutoff time, and then it takes a moment for the blockchain to, update itself, and then boom, more coins in the coffer. Now, it's Paul. I'm having more fun than I can remember, and it is. There's so many implications.
Oh yeah,
that are amazing. All of my kids are getting these devices. I'm like, get in on this, kids. This is not only for your own health, because it's really sophisticated information, but you can set up a retirement for yourself. They're in their 20s, and they're like, they're all over it as well. I'm super excited. I have 7 kids, most of them are adults, and it's just great. It's beyond my imagination, honestly. It's so
yeah. Well, when you first were talking to this, or talking on this point to me, you were saying that, it was rather revolutionary mind shift for you to think that you're getting paid to work out. You're getting paid to eat better. You're getting paid to do all the things that you're supposed to be doing with your health.
Yeah. So it's funny you bring that up. I've been in natural health for 40 years. And I've been paid to consult. I started out at charging $25 an hour, ended up at $500 an hour, and then I got tired of it because it's just a lot of phone calls in the middle of the night and stuff like that. And I'm just like, But in the supplement industry for many decades, ever since then. And it's like, I always thought I should figure out a way to get paid for working out, because I have to stay healthy to make an income, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's common sense. And yet the US federal government makes it crystal clear you can't write off taxes for working out under any circumstances, even if it helps your business.
Yeah.
You can't logistically and practically make money working out. And so every day it's a couple hours like of lost time. If you're talking just from a strictly direct financial reward, right?
Right.
And so about, I don't know, last week sometime, I have a rowing machine, and I run and I walk and I row and I do squats and push-ups and all sorts of things every single day, right? So I turn on my device and I track those things. And I got off the rowing machine the other day, and it dawned on me, it's like, I literally just got paid to do that. I mean, it's mind-blowing, Paul. And it's mind-blowing. I swear. It's like, I was so excited because I've been trying to figure out a way for 20 years. How do I get paid to work out?
Yeah.
Now I get paid to work out. Not only that, I actually get paid to take the right supplements. I get paid to eat properly. I get paid to take 10,000 steps a day, because you actually get paid more for taking 10,000 steps in a day.
Right.
You actually, for getting better sleep. I mean, there's all these things for improving your health metrics. That NFT tracks all of that, and then it actually ramps up the amount of money we make today and in the long run. And so and I'll tell you what, I've been talking to a lot of people, and people are like, they're keeping track, and it's like, I got to get more steps in. People who walked maybe 1,000 steps a day are up to 3,000 steps a day.
Right.
I mean, it's a tremendous thing. I've never seen, and you always think about it, you think, what motivates people the most? And in a lot of ways, you hate to admit it, but when people are making money,
yeah,
it's highly motivating to them to get healthy.
Yep. That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, and you know what? One of the things that we both value, again, is that freedom to be able to transact however you wish. If you're creating the data and it's something that you know is valuable, I mean, you do get a feedback to it, right? It's like, oh, hey, I can now see my progress. I can see that what I'm doing is giving me results. That alone is wonderful. But then to add that ability to trade that data for monetary value, again, we're looking at a whole new mindset that people need to start learning and adopting in their minds. Oh, and we lost you again. That's okay. I know it's probably just another call that came in or something like that. So we'll get him back here in just a second, I'm sure. But while he's gone, like this, oh my goodness. When you create something, it's yours. This is your opportunity to maintain ownership over the very data that comes out of your body. When you are working out, when you are taking supplements, when you are doing these basic things, now you have the opportunity to monetize that. You are already monetizing it, by the way. Just full disclosure. That data is already going out to these monoliths, and they are taking that data and making money off of it. But it's your data. Now you do say I agree and so on and so forth. But hey, why not maintain sovereignty over your property? Because that's what data is. You're creating the data, so therefore it's yours, and you have every right to trade it how you see fit in order to secure the data, but then you can now monetize it. That is a whole new level of ownership and self-responsibility that we can start to exercise that we've not had, especially not mainstream. But now here it's available commercially. People can just go again and get started.
Yeah, it's. I mean, like I said, it's brand new. We literally just started this whole project. Um, but the the thing that I think about a lot is not just this project, but what it means for the bigger picture. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I mean, owning our own data is an incredibly powerful thing.
Yeah.
The ability to transact freely is an incredibly powerful thing. The ability to monetize that if we choose. And I mean, honestly, I would not do it if it were not anonymous.
Right.
I wouldn't do it. Right. I'm not, no matter what it paid me, I would not prostitute myself like that.
Right.
I think I think that is, I mean, that goes against every value that I have. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
the anonymous, secure nature of it gives me the ability to make a good choice. And of course, I mean, I think the private property part, why do we own private property? Security, right? Because, I mean, you want a place to call your own, right?
Yeah.
And you want things that are your own that you can use that people can't take away from you.
Mm-hmm.
So, but on the flip side, I have bought and sold vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
I've bought and sold real estate on probably 50 times. I've bought and sold, just whatever. I once walked down the street and bought a water ski for $9 and sold it for $110 on eBay about 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I mean, that sort of ability to own and then transact and sell, that is part of free. I mean, that is a big chunk of freedom.
Yeah.
Now we get to do it with my friend Al says data is the new oil. I mean, he coined that phrase, and I've been thinking about that, and it is the most valuable asset in the world.
Of course. Of course.
So,
I've been saying this for a while as well, that the commodity of the future, the number one commodity of the future, is data, and it's actually replacing many other commodities simply because of connecting things like the Internet of Things, right? NFTs, this whole idea of taking data and transferring it. All you're doing is that you're taking something that happens physically and putting it and giving it a digital signature. Well, that data is your proof that it occurred, that it happened. Well, that right there is the value.
and people, I was talking to my mother-in-law yesterday. It's like, because she's visiting, and I was just explaining to her about this, and I'm like, do you ever like have a discussion? Because she likes to do home projects and stuff. It's like having a discussion, and all of a sudden you get a Home Depot ad show up, right? So Apple or Google or whoever made money off of you right then and there, right? Because Home Depot's paying for that information.
Yeah.
It is so valuable to companies that it has become this invasive thing in our lives that is like, I mean, I don't know, it bugs me that I say something and I have my phone nearby, and all of a sudden that somebody's listening in on your conversations. I mean, that bothers me. I think we need a new model. I think we need a new way to go about it. And this model that we're involved with creates a whole new ramp for people. It's like, no, Google should not make money from Home Depot by doing that.
Right.
I should make money from Home Depot by doing that.
Yes.
It's my data, right? So this is the first step. Now it's probably one of the bigger steps because it's the biometric, it's the health data. It's highly personalized. It's really important. It can be truly weaponized, like we were talking about earlier. It's super important. But guess what? This project goes forward, gains momentum, guess what? The next step is someone's going to come up with it for other parts of data and other parts of data, and we're going to revolutionize our world this way. And I think it's highly important for the overall picture. Not just, I mean, I'm super excited. Goodness gracious, I get to hang out with my kids. We do this together. We make money, working out, eating right, doing our thing, and all that kind of stuff. It's super exciting. We're a huge family of adventurers. We go on motorcycle trips. We go on. One of my daughters just got back from a 4-day beach horse trip, and
wow,
I mean, just huge stuff that are as far in the adventure realm and so forth. We'd love to do stuff together. I've got all these kids that I love. We play soccer together and all that. I turn on my device when we play soccer. I get paid to play soccer. I mean, all those things. It's fantastic, and I love it, and it's the biggest deal to me. But the bigger picture is we can create something that can actually start revolutionizing the world as well.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, it makes it even that much more important, that much more worthwhile to me.
This really dovetails well with another principle that I teach is, this idea that feedback, right? Like if you're creating the data and then you can see that, okay, here I can make adjustments because I'm getting some feedback, right? Well, we, on a macro level, we also now have feedback on the consequences of us surrendering or giving up that data. And it's not pretty, but it's kind of like AI. Well, if you don't like the output, you just got to change the input. And here, Bruce, you've got a great opportunity for people to tap into. And even if it's not something like, some people are like, oh, I don't want to have wearables on my device. That's fine. That's fine. Go and learn from Bruce these principles, because right now, as we speak, your phone can tell what your breathing rate is while you're sleeping. Like this, the amount of data that they're collecting is astronomical. And if we expect to have a different result in the future, we are going to have to start putting a different input in there. And this is a great opportunity where now the input can all be yours.
Yeah, it's truly a mindset shift. It is. We have to think differently about these things. I mean, we're trying to make a difference. You try to vote. Though your conscience, you try to do this. You speak up here and there, and you try to do all these things. But I mean, honestly, it's this topic right here that we can make the biggest impact in, and we change the way we think, make different choices for ourselves. The more that we do that as a people group, the more that entrepreneurs will see that and go, oh, there's opportunities here. Yep. And then we can create more opportunities, and it will dovetail into just a bigger spiraling effect that'll get larger and larger and larger. I mean, it is truly what you said. We got to change the way we think, change our input, and it will eventually start changing the way our society works. And I think that is, I have 2 granddaughters. If we don't do it, we can see the trends. We can see where everything is going. I don't like that world. I want my granddaughters to live in a world that I lived in, that a world that is free, that you can go about your life, do the things you'd like to do without somebody watching in on you, telling you this or blocking you from that or whatever. So
yeah,
to me, there's so many levels of importance for me. But I'll tell you this. I have always been big on personal responsibility. I've taught it from day one for people in the health, and even financial world and whatever. And I think it is one of the most important decisions of people's lives. We're not victims.
Yeah.
We're not victims, right?
Yeah.
We may be treated poorly. We may be tried to be manipulated and all sorts of stuff, but we always have choices. We always have choices to make better decisions, to go in a different direction. I've taught my kids that. We in the avenue of health consulting, it's like, hey, your future is largely in your hands. Now, I mean, there's things that happen that we don't
Yep.
have control over, but there's largely our future depends on the choices that we make, and we have the ability to do that kind of thing. You know what? You get freed up inside.
Yeah.
You get, I mean, you're able to, stress levels reduce when you actually take responsibility, when you actually govern yourself. You have more fun. You smile. You enjoy your relationships more. You enjoy your family more. Everything improves. It truly is one of the key secrets to a happy life, is the ability to self-govern. And I know that in the United States of America, our Constitution and our founding fathers and everything, it was that whole thing. It's like, this experiment's never going to work if people do not self-govern.
Right.
And then on top of that, the pursuit of happiness. I mean, that is like a giant thing for people. It's like, we need to preserve these things. And so this is why this project is so darn important for me. And I really I'm sharing it with people, working hard, because I see it as an avenue for not only myself, for the world. But, I'm going to do everything I possibly can. It's one of those choices, personal choices that I make. It's like, I'm going to do everything I possibly can to share what we're doing because of the implications.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much. And just out of curiosity, where do people go to learn more about, the work that you're doing? And especially if people are interested in working with you, partnering with you, and learning from you as a student, where would people go?
Okay, so I would say we actually have a website in process.
Okay,
and it's not quite ready to be shared yet.
Okay, well, you know what? If
Honestly,
you're fine with it, people can just reach out to me through the contact information that's on my website, or they can leave a comment underneath this video, and I'll make sure that that I get them connected with you in whatever way that we are already connected. So
that would be best. Like I said, this is also brand new, Paul. Right now, everything is we're just chatting with people, talking with people. This kind
old school business.
Oh yeah, no, it is. So it is so brand new. We've had people working hard on getting everything in alignment and so forth, so we have a bigger platform to send people to. I mean, I've created personal videos and different things like that, but right now, just the person-to-person contact is far and away the best way to go about it.
That's awesome. Let's just keep it that way then. Yeah.
We love building relationships anyways. I mean, community, and that's one thing I didn't talk about. But the community that we're building it's incredibly life-giving. I'll put it that way, and it's super fun. So
yeah,
Paul, thank you. I mean, I'm super excited, and yeah, we'll just connect. You and I will just connect with whoever.
Yeah.
In that way. So
absolutely. Again, thank you so much, and to everybody who's watching. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Share your concerns and see what visions, or share with us what your vision is for the future, especially when technologies like this are available. Everybody have a good day.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, you bet.